by Jamie's pit bull and for medical expenses due to injuries she received during the incident.
Miss Liner, you and the defendant are neighbors. You live in a rural area, I gather. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that the defendant's dog came onto your property and killed 2 of your goats?
Yes, ma'am.
When did that happen?
October 23rd, 2014, about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Who witnessed it?
I did.
Okay. Tell me what you saw.
While I was in my house, my dog started barking kind of funny, and I thought something must be outside property. So you can see where my pond was, where I had to run to where the dog was. It's at least 600 feet or so. And by the time I ran back there...
Could you hold that picture up for me?
Yes. Catching them. Then run over here. My goats were all standing like behind her property, like in fear, you know, looking toward my pond. So I said, oh, the commotion must be behind the pond. So I ran around the pond, and there was her dogs with 1 goat that they dropped in the water, and the other one was already dead in the water right here on the back side.
So you actually saw her dog?
I saw the dog, yes, ma'am.
And you've been neighbors for how long?
They moved there about like June, end of June or July. It's here trying to kill my goats. It's here trying to kill my cats.
Can I see those?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, here. Yeah. I have pictures of the dead goats, and I have pictures of...
What was your dog doing out again after she had already warned you that your dog was on her property on October the 9th?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You still have your dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
Received during the incident.
Go ahead.
My dog would follow her dogs. She also has beagle puppies. They run loose. They come in my yard. They play with Sealy. The goats also were in my yard on previous occasions.
Well, this time they weren't.
She followed the beagles over there.
Happened?
I wasn't outside when it happened, no, ma'am.
So you don't know what happened. You are assuming that your dog followed her dogs onto the property.
It had happened on prior occasions.
Well, but that's a guess.
Okay.
What we 13, October 15th, that your dog was on her property.
Yes,
well, you're responsible. You may live in a rural area, but if you let your dog run free and your dog attacks and causes property damage and the goats are property, you have to be responsible for that. That's not a hard concept. You still have your dog?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, do you keep it contained?
It's in a pen, yes, ma'am.
Now?
Yes.
Since when?
It was at the time, but she would get out.
Well, did you secure it so that she couldn't get out?
To the best I could, yes, ma'am.
Well, you have to make sure you do better. Now, what's the cost?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
It's not an unreasonable figure that you gave me.
All right,
I'm not questioning your figure.
Okay.
That's $500.
And I fell in a hole carrying the dog to her, and she stood at the fence and watched me.
Because she was yelling and screaming and cussing at me and telling me she was killing my dog.
That's right.
She picked my dog up and slammed it on the ground. Yes, I was not going near her.
Your dog just killed 2 of her animals.
All right, that's my medical
Your dog just killed 2 of her animals. Why are you complaining that she's yelling at you that she's going to kill your dog? I mean, you see a difference between a dog and a goat?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, most people don't. They're both living creatures.
Yes, ma'am.
I also have the police report.
Your ankle was wrapped in
the dog to her.
The date of the medical report was the day you saw the doctor, which was on the same date as the incident.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to give you exactly what you're asking for, $1,300, judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Auditor excused, you may step out.
Case is about the return of your security deposit and your last month's rent.
Correct.
I'm not exactly sure what their defense is. I guess I'll figure it out. Did you have a written lease?
I did not, Your Honor.
When did you become a tenant?
I moved in on March 26, 2014.
And what was the rent?
It was $287.50 for both of us, but $575 altogether.
Both of whom?
Me and my roommates. She's not here.
So there were 2 of you living there?
Yes, that's correct.
And you put in $287.50 for security?
Correct. When I moved in, I put in $600 for a deposit, and I also had $300 every month. The rent changed, so it was $575. Split was $287.50.
Listen to me. You had a roommate.
Yes.
You shared the expenses with your roommate.
Correct.
Where's the roommate?
She's not here. She still lives with them.
Well, that's a big problem.
I have receipts that I paid for them.
I'd like to see the receipts.
Okay. So when I moved in, I put in half the deposit as well as the $1175. When I moved on April 1st, I paid $1175, which was supposed to be the $600 deposit.
What kind of deposits are these?
You mean receipts?
Yeah.
Handwritten?
It doesn't say who you received it for. It says $1175. It's not signed, but it's the same handwriting as this, so I assume it's yours. What was the $1175 for? Say it says it received from her, but I don't know if that's for the whole apartment or not.
She moved her roommate from Denver, so the roommate wasn't here to give her share, so Crystal paid it on her behalf.
Your Honor.
So everything is split in half.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is that when the apartment was first taken, the roommate wasn't there.
Correct.
Is that right?
No, that is not.
Listen, very simply, I'm getting a zhuzh in my head from this case, which I'm going to make very, very simple. How much money do you have of her security deposit?
I have 150 of her security deposit and her last month's rent, which, Your Honor, was $285.
Now, living with you?
Correct.
Okay. You moved in with your roommate and you said, I'm leaving. So I'm sure not only for them, but for this girl that you brought to live with you, the right thing to do is to find somebody else.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So why do you think you're entitled to any money?
Your Honor, when I wanted to put my 30 days notice in, I texted Chris because I wanted it to be in writing. I do have that, Your Honor, as well, if you would like to see that.
Just a second. So
okay.
That's June
I put the 30
26th.
days, yes, June 26, 2014. I sent her a text saying I wanted to put my 30 days notice in.
Okay.
I wanted my July rent, which was going to be my last month. I wanted the last month's rent that I paid when I moved in, pay for July's rent. I tried to explain myself when she...
Just a second. All right, let's deal with that. She gave you a 30-day notice and said she was moving out. She's going to show me the text message. You want to show it to me?
Yeah.
That she was moving out by the end of July. She had already paid July's rent. So what she was saying is, I want to live off of my last month's rent that I paid you. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Right, but she moved out.
When?
July 1st.
So
She
what?
kicked me out.
So what? She paid you for July. She didn't pay again. She doesn't have to pay twice for July. She already paid you for July.
But, Your Honor, verbal agreement was if she found someone to replace herself in July, we would give her last month's rent, meaning July's rent. She did not find anyone.
Just a second. No. She says to you, hey, I would like that to go towards July, please. Thank you. So what are you suing her for? It went for July.
Right, that's correct. So when she called me, she was yelling me saying that I needed to pay for July. I have a recording
Just a
also.
second. I don't care about that.
Okay.
Did you pay her again for July?
No, I did not.
So
Your
what are
Honor.
you doing here?
Because she kicked me out. Therefore, she didn't give me any deposit, and she didn't give me the last
What do you mean
month's
she
rent.
kicked you out? You told her you were moving.
Yes, that's correct. But then in this conversation that I had with, and my mother, Taffy, here was there for that. She overheard it. She told me that she never wanted to see my face again. I was in Nashville at this time in a hotel room on vacation with my mother. And so my father called up Chris.
Just a second. Let's go back.
Okay.
You were in Nashville on the 26th of June on vacation with your mother.
Yes, Your Honor.
Until when?
We didn't get back until Friday the 27th.
6/27.
Yes, Your Honor.
And when were you changing jobs?
I wasn't changing jobs. I was just going to be transferring for work.
Just a second. Transfer jobs.
Transferring
When
for
were
I'm a
you-
flight attendant.
Just a second.
Okay.
Effective when and for which company?
I am a flight attendant, and I put in for a transfer, and it generally takes about 30 days for the transfer, so August 1st starting. That's why I put my 30 days notice in, so that I would have 30 days to
Where
move
did you
out.
move to?
Arizona.
When?
I am in the process of still doing that, Your Honor.
Where are you living now?
I am living with my parents, Your Honor, because all my stuff is...
And she told you the end of June that she didn't want to see you anymore. She, in effect, constructively evicted you, so you're entitled to your last month's rent back.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's your argument. And you say...
Your Honor, I said I didn't want to see her again, but she was welcome to come get her stuff anytime.
Just a second.
Okay.
Is that what you said to her in June?
Yes, that I didn't want her to see her face.
Well, then you have to give her her rent back for July.
Well, Your Honor,
What does Your Honor?
our verbal agreement was...
Careful.
Okay, yes, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If she gave you notice and then...
And Lee Anderson kicked her out of her apartment and refused to return her security deposit and last month's rent.
Now, if she gave you notice and then you told her the end of June, I don't want to see your face anymore, come get your stuff, you're not entitled to keep her July's rent. I don't care whether she found you a roommate or she found you 6 bulldogs to live in her apartment. It matters not. You evicted her. By you telling her she was prohibited from coming back except to get her stuff, you evicted her. What was your rent? The piece that they have.
Yes. So when I
just give me the number.
It's $585.
That's hard for me to tell.
Yes.
Because this says $300.
Okay, Your Honor.
You can't explain something different from what you handed me.
That's half of it to hold this spot. When I moved in, they asked for half the deposit. So I gave them $300 to hold it.
Okay. And now you have somebody else living there with another roommate.
Yes.
She's entitled to her $300.
She never paid utilities the whole time that she lived there?
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. You can't tell her to leave and then keep her money. That's ridiculous.
Your Honor, she didn't have to contact me. She has her own entrance, own stairway.
$587.50. The case is about your claim that the two defendants, your daughter and her fiancé, are responsible to you and your boyfriend for the balance of rent that's owed on an apartment that a whole bunch of you signed a lease for some time ago. And your daughter and her fiancé moved out.
Yes.
Prior to the termination of the lease, and you want them to be responsible for the last 5 months of that lease. And your daughter says a variety of things, but she has a counterclaim. Her counterclaim is that she has been receiving Social Security disability from the time she was quite young. And she said that for all those years, until she reached her majority, you were the payee on her Social Security, which you relied on to pay the rent on this apartment, $2,000, that you kept. And she wants that money back. You acknowledge that you accepted that check from her. According to you, you say you accepted that check from her because he was supposed to be paying you rent. He didn't pay you rent, so you accepted that check from her in lieu of his rent. That's what you say in your answer, right?
No.
That's what you said in the thing that you signed. Are you telling me it's wrong?
The amount is wrong.
You said $1,700. She says $2,000. It doesn't make any difference. Now I have some questions. How old was your daughter when you applied for disability for her?
She was about 5.
You have other children?
I have 4 other ones besides her.
Any of the other children receive disability checks?
I have a 14-year-old son that receives Social Security.
For what?
For autism.
She does not have autism. She, according to you, has attention deficit disorder. Is that what you were diagnosed with?
Yes.
How old are you?
21.
Did you finish high school?
Yes.
When did you graduate?
2011.
Did you go to regular high school?
Yes.
When you graduated from high school, did you graduate from high school on time?
No.
Spent an extra year?
2 years.
What did you do after work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I am the price coordinator at Harbor Freight Tours.
Now, you and your fiancé are expecting a baby.
Yes.
That's a lot of responsibility. You're going to be able to take care of that yourself?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes, Your Honor.
The most important responsibility a person can have in a lifetime is taking care of a baby that can't take care of themselves, right?
Yes.
And you think you can do that by yourself?
Yes.
Well, if you think you can do that by yourself, why can't you have a job? And you take on the responsibility of having a life that you have to take care of. When he's working, I'm just a silly person. It seemed to me you would test out the waters first and see if you could do something else. Do you understand what I mean? Now it's too late, but you have to think about these things. You just can't be whatever. Mm-hmm. Did you apply for disability for your daughter?
Yes.
And when she turned 21 and you and the fiancé, this is your fiancé or boyfriend? Fiancé.
Yeah.
Moved into this apartment, she signed the lease.
Yes.
Why? She wasn't working.
Because she had the income.
Because she had disability.
Yes.
That's right. So, this is what I'm going to tell you. You're the mother. You're supposed to take care of $1,000 a month in Social Security, and you needed to show her income on the lease in order to get the lease signed. Then you were relying on her. You're not supposed to rely on her. You're supposed to rely on yourself and him. You're the grown-ups. So if you think I'm going to burden them, these two people who can marginally take care of themselves, because now they have an apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
You were approved for an apartment with the housing authority.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I take care of her, who according to you is disabled. You take care of your own rent. Because I'm not having them take out any money from her Social Security disability to give you for rent anymore. We understand each other? Good. Now, When did you take this $1,700 check of hers?
I received it in April 24th of 2014, which went all towards her.
That's not what you said in your complaint. In your complaint, you said she got an extra check and the boyfriend didn't have a job, was not paying his rent, his contribution, because he was living with you too. So you took her check to cover his rent. That's what you say in your complaint. She's not supposed to take care of you. Do you work?
I'm a homemaker and I volunteer for the schools.
So the answer is, out of the home, you do not work. Do you work?
Yes, I do.
Terrific. Now, how much was the extra check you received?
I got it right here, Your Honor.
How much?
That's good. It was a total of $1,705.78 on April. We moved out August 7th, 2014.
But I got a letter from the landlord that they never gave us 60 days notice when they moved out. They breached the...
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 46.
Take care of yourself. You're going to have a husband if you ever get married. I don't know what your story is. How long have you been together?
About 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Eventually, you'll make up your mind whether you want to make this legal or if there's some reason why not. But your children, well, this child anyway, is no longer going to contribute to your household.
She never has.
Of course she has, madam. Well, she has. The government has.
To pay her rent and her utilities.
Just a second. When she was 8, 7 or 12, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but about
when you finish volunteering, you're supposed to work to pay for your children.
Yeah, it bought her clothing.
Yeah, your case is dismissed. Judgment on the counterclaim for $1,700. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The whole reason her mom's upset is because I became the payee once I realized.
Yeah, she did change. She's not the same daughter I had.
That the money wasn't being used for Ashley needs.
Her fiance changed my daughter.
I'm hoping they come to realize that
my relationship with my daughter is ruined.
She fines and back child support.
Mr. Scoogan, this is your son. And are you still married to his mother?
No, Your Honor. We were never married.
Did you live with him for any period of time during the course of your life? Until he was how old?
11.
Do you have any other children?
2.
Are they with the same mother?
No.
How old are they?
25 and 23.
And this young man, what's his first name?
Christopher.
How old is Christopher?
19.
Do your 25 and 23-year-old children work?
My daughter does. Brianna does. I have a daughter in Germany, and I don't know if she does or not.
So you don't see her?
On Facebook, I do.
And you don't know if she works?
No.
You don't know how she supports herself? Or for somebody else?
Somebody else.
For how long have you worked for somebody else?
20 years.
You have a drinking problem?
A little bit. Used to. I used to.
Now, you had some DUI difficulty.
Yes.
When?
4 years ago.
What kind of difficulty was it?
I got a DUI. DWI. 2 of them.
I have money.
Yes. I can't stop cheating.
Do you want to sit down, sir?
Yes.
Sit down.
A little nervous.
I see. And I'm going to give you a little time to compose yourself.
Okay.
Just sit down and relax until you feel a little more composed. If you don't feel more composed, I don't want anybody passing out on me.
No, I won't.
Do you understand? I'll be back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Let me just...
His father, Chris Scoogan Sr., owes for loans to pay DWI fines and back child...
All right, so step up. How do you feel?
I'm feeling better. I recently had surgery. So.
Okay, well, that was nerves, and probably you hadn't eaten for a while?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, so we were back with, you had 2 DUIs. The cost of the DUIs was $3,200 in order to clear your record and get your license back. My question to you was...
No, Your Honor.
Lucky?
Yes.
Now, your son had an accident. What kind of an accident did he have?
He was hit by a car.
Was he injured?
Broke his hip and bones in his back.
So he suffered a lot. He got a settlement. And the settlement amount was $150,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you turned 18, some fool let you have that money.
Yes.
And according to you, when you got that money, you gave some of that money to your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much?
At first, I wrote him a check for $3,500.
Why?
So he could pay off the child support debt and the DUI so he can get his license back.
Child support obligations that you failed to pay?
On one, Your Honor, just arrears on for my daughter Brianna.
And so I assume she was on welfare. So
Yes.
the state followed it.
Yes.
So the state is like Velcro. You're not going to
Yeah.
get your driver's license back even if you pay your DUI fines unless you clear your child support obligations, which is at this point probably...
Loan.
No, I didn't ask you whether it was a loan. I mean, don't you know, parents don't take from children. Children take from parents. That's the flow. It's almost like the migratory pattern of Jews from New York to Florida. Do you understand? Jews don't go from Florida back to New York. They go this way. Money is supposed to go from parents to their children to get them on their feet, not from children to able-bodied parents. Now, how much in total did you take from your son?
There was the 35, and then 2,200, and then another 800.
What was the other money for?
The 2,200 was to pay off
The windows in their home.
Mr. Johnson, this is your son and his fiancée, and your claim is that they owe you some money, personal loan, that you made to them for the purposes of putting new windows in their home. Are you neighbors?
Yes.
You own your own home?
Yes.
Do you own your own home?
Yes.
When did you purchase your home?
April 2012, I believe.
Just curious, why would you buy a house next door to your father?
He doesn't live next door to me. He lives like 3 miles, 4 miles away from me.
So you're not neighbors?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought 2 miles away was close enough.
No, 2 miles away is not a neighborhood. 2 miles
apologize.
away, if you come from New York City, is like another continent.
Oh, okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Let's get to the loan.
Say Jessica Quick owe for a loan to replace the windows in their home. The couple claims Gregory talked them into making the improvements.
Okay. What kind of work do you do, Mr. Johnson?
I do collect 23, 24, I think.
And is the house in your name?
It's in me and my fiance's name.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Quick?
I'm a manager at a retail store.
And how much did you earn last year?
$22,000.
Any children?
No.
How much did you pay for the house?
91.5.
How many children do you have?
Just Joshua.
And you know what he earns, correct?
Yes.
Approximately. Between the two of them, they earn about $40,000 a year. You have a mortgage on the house?
Yes.
How much is the mortgage?
$625.
Okay. You came into some money. How much?
I think it was around 250.
Windows in your house.
May of 2013.
Well, that was 5 years after you got your inheritance.
That's correct.
And I'd like you to tell me your version of the events surrounding this alleged loan to your son and his fiancée.
In 2012, after Joshua had come over to my house after a couple of years of us being estranged, he came by the house, we talked. He said they had bought a house a couple miles from my place. So I decided that I would go ahead, and in December of 2012, I told them for a Christmas present / housewarming present, I would like to buy them that HVAC unit and all new ducting work and attic work as a gift.
And did you do that?
Yes.
And how much was that?
$52.50.
Did your father pay the $52.50?
Yes, he did.
Work.
Correct.
Now let's move on to the windows.
We had, in my visits over there, we had identified a number of problems because the house was a bit of a fixer-upper. The next logical step after the HVAC unit would have been the windows. And Joshua and I and Jessica, we discussed it. We decided that that was the next logical step because the seals were broken around the windows. And when we started on those discussions, I said, I told you that the HVAC unit and all the ducting work was on me, but I need to be repaid for the windows. And I think the first conversation we had may well have been over the phone because I had run across an ad online where they were having a special, and it was life.
Let's get to the loan part.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson.
Well,
so far you've had a conversation,
right,
according to you, with them at their house months before. It said, you know, these windows need to be done. The other part was a gift to you, but I need to be paid back. Then you see an ad sometime later in the paper, and you say, came across this ad, looks like good American company, and now tell me what happened.
So we decided to do it. You know,
Well, what was the conversation about the loan?
Well,
and don't make it up as you go along.
No,
I'm not. I want to hear the conversation about the loan.
I left it loose and unoppressive.
What does that mean, you left it loose and unoppressive?
There wasn't any stipulations early on about how much they should pay me back or anything like that. I just said, initially, the initial conversation was, this is the next thing we need to do for your house until July 15th. And on July 15th, I called Josh and I said, you know, we haven't really had an opportunity to talk about the specifics of repaying me. But my expectations are that it really shouldn't take you more than a year or a year and a half. And my idea, although not fully developed at the time, was I thought because it was a fixer-upper, I could loan them a little bit of money, they could pay it back, then we could go on to the next project, they could pay it back, go on to the next project, which was securing the front of the house, some fencing,
So what
roofing.
did he say to you?
So on July 15th to the first week of August, we had a number of conversations. And one of those conversations that we had is that he said that he had called American Vision Windows. And according to him, American Vision Windows said that if you would have financed through us, it would have cost you about $100 a month. So he said, what we'll do is we'll give you $100 a month plus $300 out of our tax return, which equaled $1,500 for the year. It's going to take him over 4 years to pay it, but if that's what he wants, that's what he wants. So that was kind of it. And I said, so August 1st of 2014, you owe me $1,500, and every August 1st, every year, $1,500 until the balance is paid. So we left it at that, and then I got this cashier's check for $1,000 plus a handwritten letter that goes on and on a bit.
I'd like to see that bird.
This is the receipts for the windows.
Okay. So, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to talk to you. I don't even have to address your son or his fiancée. I understand exactly what happened based upon what you tell me. And based upon what you tell me, in the law, there was no contract made with either your son or certainly his fiancée. In order to have a contract, there has to be specifics. There has to be a loan amount. There has to be a period of repayment that all the parties agree to. I understand what your expectation was, as you put it. My expectation was we would be part of the recipient of the largest, but it doesn't make a contract. And I've read this letter very carefully. And even this letter says, in effect, we never had a contract, but you insisted. You said it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do for the house. It was the right way for us to behave. And we kept saying no. You insisted. That's the way they accepted these windows. But sort of as a sop, he sent you the check for $1,000. I don't view this as acknowledging his debt to you, or a debt, because as I said to you, in order to have a contract, even if it's not in writing, there has to be specifics, and all the parties have to know what their obligations are. Now, the fact that after the windows were in and you insisted that he owe you money, he was trying to maintain a relationship with you by giving you something to satisfy, but you're his only child and you only have one father. So I'd probably think that it would be a nice thing for you to do, feel better. I'm not so sure that that's what he really wants, your money. I don't think so. But if that will help, I really think that you and your fiancé should do that. It's your home, you're working, you have no other responsibility, you really can do that. And I assume you like being warm in the winter and cooler in the summer with good windows, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So I think you should do it. But this is a court, and in a court there has to be a contract, and I find that there was none. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Parties are excused. You may step out.
Mary Totsekian is suing her former landlord, Kazi Ahmed, for a security deposit, invasion of privacy, and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 2047, Totsekian versus Hamad.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You had a house.
Yes.
Where?
In Sun Valley.
When did you purchase the house?
I purchased it 4 years ago.
How much did you pay for it?
We purchased it for $585, I believe.
And you sold that house to Mr. Ahmed, what month and year?
We sold it in, I believe it was January.
Of 2022?
Yes.
And you sold it for how much?
$574,500.
Where did you move to?
I moved to Palmdale.
Did you buy something else?
Yes.
And Mr. Ahmed, you took a mortgage out?
Yes.
How much is your mortgage?
I bought the house February 15, 2022, not January, and I pay for it $710,000.
So you paid $710,000?
Yes.
Not $574,000?
No.
Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I might not be remembering the exact amount.
Well, that's a big, not exactly. 574 to 710 is a big difference.
Yeah, it was 7.
In one case you lost money. In one case, you made money.
It was 710. I apologize.
Okay, so 710.
Yes.
Yes, honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How much is your mortgage payment each month?
5,100.
Okay, and when you sold Mr. Ahmed the house, you didn't have a place to go, according to your complaint, and you asked for a rent back.
I was in escrow.
But you didn't have a place to go. Whether you were in escrow or in an igloo in Eskimo, it doesn't mean anything. You didn't have a place to go.
Correct.
So you asked them if you could stay in the house and rent it from them. How many people are there in your family?
My family, it's 3 kids.
So who was living in the house? You, 3
It was me,
children?
my husband, and I have my 2 sons that are with me. My daughter doesn't live with me.
So you asked if you could rent the house back for a few months. He was nice. He said yes. How much rent did he ask for?
He asked for $4,000.
He asked for $4,000?
Yes, for 3 bedrooms, he asked for $4,000.
Your Honor,
He never,
no.
Just a second. He asked for $4,000 even though his mortgage was $5,100?
$4,000. I paid a whole total together with everything with security deposit, and I paid $12,000.
No. That's not what I'm asking with security deposit. That's what we're here for your security deposit.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, how much did he originally ask you?
$4,000 was the...
Okay, well, that was pretty generous of him to ask for $4,000, considering his mortgage was $5,100, and he doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. So that makes him a very nice person to rent it back to you so that he's at a loss every month of $1,100. Do you understand?
Yes, I do understand.
Great. And what you're doing here is you want your deposit back.
Yes, that's correct.
$4,000. And Mr. Ahmed says that not only did he have to spend $4,000 to fix the damage you and your family caused to the house while you were living there for those few months, but he had to spend an additional $6,000. That's what he says. He had to spend an additional $6,000 because the place was destroyed because you had a disagreement with him over the date that you were going to be receiving your deposit back. That's his claim. So there were a couple of things that were sort of questionable to me.
I have not damaged, though. I have pictures of the house when I left. There was no damage.
That's fine. You're going to show them to me. Okay. The one thing that I found strange, so now I have the facts straight. So you moved into the house in February?
In the house?
Yes.
Yes.
So you rented in February and March?
Yes.
2 months.
We moved out April 6th.
Okay. Now, you told him you were moving out, and he came to the house to do an inspection. And that was before your move-out date. On what date did you meet together for him to go through the house? And let me refresh your recollection. You came to the house. He walked around with you. And at that time, he said these few things need repair. And there was not extensive damage anywhere. And when he got to the house, he rang the bell and he opened the door and you looked through the house.
Yes.
On what date was that? Do you remember?
The day that I gave him my keys to the door.
No. That's not the date you moved out. That's the date that he came there to do a walkthrough with you, your husband, and or children. I don't know who was there. And
Your Honor, he made a lot of walkthroughs.
No, I'm asking the last one that he made.
The last one?
Yes.
The last one he did, I don't remember the exact date, but he had 4 or 5 walkthroughs.
Do you remember the date? What was the date?
March 23.
And when you went to the house on March 23rd, and they had been living there February, all of February, and most of March. Was the house in pretty good shape on March 23rd? Was it in the same shape on March 23rd when you saw it on April 6th?
Yes, because when I saw the damages of my house, I request her, what is this? I show her.
No, just a second. What did you show her?
About the floor damage, wall damage, and there is...
Oh, well, show me on the pictures that you took on March 23rd.
Okay.
He quite damaged it himself from his construction that he did.
Just a second.
He did construction while I was living there. For the whole 2 months I was there, he did construction.
Okay. You know what I find problematic in both your complaint and answer?
I would like to pass my evidence.
Just a second. Okay. I'm going to tell you what I find difficult in both your complaint and his answer. That when you left the house, you took the doorbell with you. When you left the house, you took the doorbell with you. Now, he bought the house. He's paid you for the house. You've got $710,000. On the day the house closed, there is no question in my mind that there was a doorbell. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have no right to take anything from that house once it's sold. You're a renter.
Your Honor, I believe I do, because on the document it says the only thing that I'm supposed to leave for him is the washer and dryer and stove.
Madam, that's something. Have you never bought property before, or are you just trying to be obtuse? I would never think I bought and sold dozens of homes. Never in one contract. In all, and I'm a lawyer, my husband's a lawyer, grandchildren are lawyers, my children are lawyers. Not in one contract does it ever talk about a doorbell. It is assumed that you leave the doorbell, that you leave the toilets, that...
No, that was not a doorbell, it was a Ring camera.
I don't care if it was a Ring camera, I don't care if it was an MGM camera or a universal picture camera. It's not yours. It's part of the property. You have no right to take it. Period. Put your hand down. Sometimes when it doesn't appear that you're losing, you're supposed to be quiet. Do you understand? You have no right to take certain things. Once the house is sold, nothing there belongs to you. Nothing. You're a renter.
That was before the house was...
Just a second. Are you telling me that when you stay there, after the house was sold, for the 2 months that you lived there, are you telling me you lived without a doorbell? Are you telling me that you lived without a doorbell? No, you lived with a doorbell.
It's a Ring. Your Honor, it's a Ring camera.
I don't care what it is.
It was not the doorbell. It's not the doorbell. It's a Ring camera. You can take it off and take it to your next property. That's something that I bought.
You bought a lot of things in that house, I'm sure. Did you buy wallpaper? Did you buy flooring? Did you buy carpeting? You can't take it. It doesn't belong to you. It travels with the property. When you say it's a Ring camera, when you ring the doorbell, does that activate the Ring camera?
Yes, it does.
And when you took out the whole Ring camera, did you put in a doorbell?
The doorbell was already there. I never touched the doorbell. That's why I took the camera, the Ring camera, because that belongs to me. I bought that. I didn't touch the doorbell. That's part of the house. That's part of the property. It's in the wall.
Can I see a picture of what she took?
My doorbell is not here. Here is the point.
I did not touch the doorbell. Again, he did a lot of remodeling. He probably did all the damages himself. He's trying to blame it on me.
Mm-hmm. No, you're not allowed to take it. Period.
I have a lot of evidence.
You're not allowed to take it now. So I'm starting with your case. You want your deposit back.
Yes.
This gets deducted from your deposit. Did you replace this?
Not yet.
Did you get an estimate for its replacement?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. And not only doorbell, Your Honor. She took the curtain rods and also all the light bulbs.
Just a second.
Okay. Give me some time.
I don't have time.
Can I please explain what really happened and what I went through with this guy from day one?
No.
He let me
right here.
No.
Because I want to prove my case because he's wrong and he's a crook.
No. Madam, you rented the house.
Yes.
For $4,000 a month.
Yes.
A 3-bedroom house.
I paid him
the amount. And you paid him the amount. And you stayed there. If there was something wrong with the house, or if you didn't like the fact that he was doing construction there, or he was coming in and out of the house, even though he was renting it to you for $1,100 less than his mortgage payment, okay? You could have moved.
Your Honor, let me just tell you that he promised me from day... He kept texting me over and over, bringing renters to show my side of the place to live. While we were living there, he harassed me every day by text messages and phone calls. Can I show the house? Every single day?
Who cares? I don't care.
But that caused a lot of tension to my family.
I don't care. Move.
She intentionally damaged.
Don't tell me what you intentionally did.
Sure, this is the damages picture.
I didn't.
Shh. I'm going to dismiss your case. Do you understand? 1, 2, 3. It will be my joy.
Mary Totsekian claims her former landlord, Kazi Ahmed, refused to return her security deposits and harassed her. Kazi is countersuing for vandalism.
Now, if you didn't like to live in a place where you were being constantly harassed, you and your husband now have a $110,000 profit from selling your house.
I gave him a $10,000 discount on that property. And he
did you understand what I just said to you? Move. Say, listen, it's not working out. You're bringing too many people in and out of the house. It's not working for me. Wait just a second. We'd like to move out before. Did you ever say that to him? The answer is no.
Because I had a lease with him.
Did you ever?
Just
a second.
Yes.
Did you ever say that to him? I would like to give you your property back earlier. We don't need it for 2 months because I don't want to be harassed. We're going to move out into a hotel until our house is ready. But you stayed there.
No, I told him that we can't keep having people come and knock on our door.
Okay.
I made it very
Madam, you're not getting compensated for that. You're a big girl. You made a lot of money on this house. You asked for a deal for him to rent it back to you. He said, fine. He's going to tell me that he wanted to have his mortgage covered, and you were not prepared to do that, and you were not prepared to do that.
Your Honor, let me just tell you, the living situation for that 2 months that I was there was hell with him. He caused me all kinds of anxiety. The last day when I was supposed to give him the keys so I can leave, he opened the door and started arguing with me in front of my 11-year-old kid. He made him cry. He caused a lot of trauma to our family.
Your Honor, her son was not there.
He's a monster. He doesn't care about anything else. And then he did remodeling. Now he's trying to get the money out of me to pay for it because he's broke. That's
okay. First of all, this comes off the deposit, and then I want to see the estimate.
All I want is my $4,000 security deposit.
Well, I'm not sure you're going to get it.
His rent on time, just like a good renter.
Okay.
But all I wanted was my deposit back. That's it.
On March 23rd of this year, when he came to do an initial walkthrough with you before you were leaving, did you discuss deposit? The answer is yes.
I made
just a second.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
And at that time, did he say to you, this needs fixed, this needs fixed? Did he say anything to you? Nothing. Did he tell you that he had, by law, 21 days to return your deposit?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you say to him?
I said, that's fine, I will wait the 20 days, but
No, just a second.
Yes.
You said it was fine, I'll wait the 20 days.
Yeah, to get my deposit, yes.
Okay. And then what happened?
I have every text that we sent to each other.
I'm not reading every text that you sent to each other. I'm asking you after March 23rd. Go to your March 23rd texts.
I do have here.
He basically said
basically. I said go to your March 23rd and thereafter.
I highlight, Your Honor, for you.
After March 23rd.
Yes.
Go to you have text messages? That's what you said. You're looking at me.
Okay. I have a March 23 here. He led me on in the text messages saying that you help me pay my mortgage, I will help and give you a security
deposit. I'm asking you to show me the text messages after March 23rd.
This is the March 23rd.
And thereafter, you pay deposit back when there isn't any damage to the house. You don't use my deposit for anything else. You hold it for damages. Here is the notice. I would like you to meet with you and your husband. Please let me know when you are available. Please don't threaten me with my deposit.
I wasn't.
He was threatening me.
I wasn't.
Please don't threaten me. You mean threaten me with my deposit. Can you show me where on the contract it says the washer and dryer stays?
That I found it stays, and we did leave it there.
She tried to take with her that too.
Again, Your Honor, I'm just here for my deposit because I did my responsibilities and paid the rent. I was a good tenant. I kept the house beautifully clean and everything. I deserve my deposit back. That's why I'm here. I don't want to deal with him. I don't want to see him ever again. I just want my deposit.
I know what you want.
That's it.
That's why we're in court. If he felt as if you deserved your deposit, he wouldn't give it.
And if I left the house perfect, he needs to give it to me because I didn't do no damages to that property.
Okay.
He's lying.
Can you show me where the contract says the washer and dryer stays because I don't see it? I made it very clear to everyone that I paid for it, that it's going with me.
That was before I looked at the document.
Just a second.
Yes.
So that's before you looked at the document?
Yes.
When did you look at the document?
I looked at it, it was at home when I noticed it.
Did you respond to him after the 23rd and say to him, I realize that the washer and dryer stays?
No, because he's been threatening me constantly. Why am I going to respond to him? He's been a monster.
Can you please show me photographs of what the house looked like?
He's been a complete monster,
show me
Your Honor.
Just a second. Show me what the house looked like on April 6th.
This is the pictures I have. This is what it looks like. Perfect little house.
Don't speak. Just show me.
I'm just trying to say that I'm not here for anything empty. I'm here for my deposit.
No, that's not what you're here for, just your deposit, madam. That's not what you filed a claim for. An invasion of privacy and pain and suffering. There's a whole bunch of things that you're suing for. Okay. I see these pictures.
The house is in
just a second.
great shape.
Just a second. And is this your little dog?
Yes, it is. The house is in great shape. He has no complaints.
He's going to show me pictures. I'm going to look at them.
I deserve my deposit back. That's all I know. He wasted my time. He lied through me.
Can I see your photographs of what the house looks like?
Your Honor, this is the picture when I bought the property with good condition.
Okay.
And this is the picture for she intentionally damaged.
Don't tell me what you intentionally did.
Sure, this is the damages picture.
I didn't do that.
I'm going to dismiss your case. Do you understand? 1, 2, 3. It will be my joy. Anybody who takes out a doorbell ring or whatever it is and leaves holes and mollies in the wall, which is exactly what you did, just like the washer and dryer. Okay.
Your Honor, this is the previous.
Don't speak. Okay. Now I'd like to see the photographs that you took April 6th or thereafter. When did you take those photographs? On what day?
I start March 23rd to April 6th.
I'd like to see the photographs.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, some of this damage, sir, that were in the door hinges, that's not damage that they did. That's not damage that I can ascribe to them. There are some holes in the walls. I know you're showing me this. That you have to deal with.
I sold my property to him as is. I did have tenants there. I'll tell you right now.
No, I want to know what rent the tenant was paying you. That's a number, not a story.
Mary Totzikian accuses her former landlord, Kazi Ahmed, of keeping her security deposit and harassing her. Kazi claims Mary vandalized his house before she left.
Okay, I don't know what this is that you're showing me in this picture.
Because there is a water leak from there. So the water goes in the cabinet inside.
Okay.
Okay.
I assume that you have some sort of insurance because they didn't do this damage.
Okay.
They didn't do this damage when they were there. I would like, sir, to see some of the pictures before and after. This is moldy and it's dirty. So they didn't clean the bathtub. Where are you living now, sir?
With my mom.
And who's living in the house?
I rent it out.
What's the name of the people that you rented the house to?
It's Walter.
When did you rent it? On what date?
I don't remember exact date.
Well, you'll remember. You remember everything else. You remember April 6th. You remember March 23rd. Now remember what day they came.
Okay. June.
So actually the house was, just a second, so actually the house was unrented for about a month and a half.
Right. Because I...
Shh, not a because. Now, how much did you rent the house for to Walter?
$4,000.
Could you explain to me why you're renting it to somebody for less than what you pay in your mortgage?
Sure. So here is the American dream, because I came here 2013 and I start live with my mom. So me and my wife working so hard to buy the house. We save every penny day by day, and we saw a lot of house last couple years.
I'm not listening. Don't tell me your life story. I want to know why you're renting the house for less than your mortgage payment.
Because, no, the people is very nice, and they said they're going to increase the rent January. They give me $5,000. That's why.
Do you have a lease with them?
I do.
You have a lease with them. And
yes.
Does the lease indicate that the rent is being raised in January?
Yes.
What?
That whole thing that he said that his place was not rented for a month, that's a lie, because he was renting the place out while I was living there. So he had renters all in the backside.
Just a second, you mean they were living with you?
They were living in that back house. That house is split with a wall, so there's empty rooms in the back. So he was literally renting it out, boom, boom, like right away.
Just a second.
While I was there.
Is what you're telling me that there are two sources of income from that house?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Mr. Ahmed.
Yes.
Listen to me carefully.
Sure.
How many tenants do you have in that house?
3.
Shh.
Oh.
Look at me.
Sure.
How many tenants? You have Walter,
yes.
and he pays you $4,000.
Yes.
You have another tenant.
Yes.
Okay, and the other tenant is in the back.
Yes.
And what does the other tenant pay you?
Okay, the one...
No, that's a figure.
Oh,
what does the other tenant pay you? Don't look up there. You know exactly how much?
$3,000.
$3,000. So you cover your mortgage, and you make a little money.
Yeah.
Now, while she was living there, pay attention.
Yes.
While she was living there, were you renting the back?
Yes.
Yes. And how much were you getting?
Okay.
That's a number. Okay. Before you answer the question, think. How much were you getting from the people in the back?
Same.
Same what?
Because that's not my...
But just a second. What do you mean the same? The same as what?
The people used to live there long time with her. That's her tenant, not mine. She just transferred to me.
I see. So you had a tenant living in the back.
Yes.
You had a tenant living
Yes,
in the
Your
back.
Honor.
And what was the rent that you were charging your tenant?
I sold my property to him as is. I did have tenants there. Yes, I did. And one of the tenants, I'll tell you right now,
No, I want to know what rent the tenant was paying you.
That's what I'm saying.
Just give me that's a number, not a story.
1,000, and I would say 2,000 altogether.
Sounds to me as if everybody did very well. You have to pay for the doorbell. Now I want a receipt for the doorbell. The rest of the pictures are nonsense. And you had no loss of income. Just a second.
Yes,
I want the estimate for the doorbell. That's what I want. That's going to be deducted from the... Put your hand down. Otherwise, you're gone. Do you understand? Doorbell.
$84.
$84.
Yes, something like that.
Do the math for me. I think it's $3,900, whatever. $4,000 less 84.
$39.16.
$39.16. Sir, I've looked at your photographs, and I don't see any damage that you can ascribe to the plaintiff that I think mitigates in your favor, other than the doorbell, which I actually find outrageous.
Right, Your Honor.
And you had no loss of income. So clearly what you did was purchase this house, and you make an income from this house every month.
After I pay my mortgage, and there is a service like expenses, and also there is a like utilities bill is so expensive now.
I don't care. $39.16. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaims dismissed. We are finished with this case.
Right.
Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
I deserve my security deposit back. I did very well with paying the rent, and I feel like this was fair.
I'm not happy about it because I'm the buyer and I bought the house. There is a lot of damages after she moved out.
He was pretty much texting and having renters come and knock on my door every day without even giving me a notice ahead of time.
I was always giving to her 2-3 days notice to go in the property.
It was not easy, but you know, we moved on to something better, so.
Still living in the American dream.
You know, this case is sort of an example of you read a complaint and you read an answer and you sort of have a predetermination of what the case might look like and how that shifts. Because when I originally saw these people, I said, you know, she took the doorbell and the ring thing with her. Why? And there was with the washer and dryer. She said, I'm taking it. It was in the contract that it stayed. But then when I got to know both of these people, Sarah, they were both a little bit of hustlers. Nobody told me up front that there was a back apartment that they rented. And I said, why was this guy being such a good guy?
Yeah. And he didn't say, well, actually, I'm not that great of a guy. I rent the backside and cover my expenses.
I rent the back for $3,000 and it all covers his expenses. They actually, both of them, deserved each other a little bit. He didn't deserve another $6,000 in addition to the $4,000 because I didn't see that much in damage. I mean, you looked at some of the pictures.
I saw some of the photos, and it looked like
holes, you know, from pictures in the wall.
But not like what he was describing in his answer, like punched holes in the wall and ripped up flooring. We didn't see any of that.
There was nothing. Anyway, she made a lot of money.
He's doing just fine.
Previously on Judy Justice.
We start arguing at this point, like we're both yelling at each other, it's getting heated. She then tells me that she's going to have some dudes come and beat me up. Gallo, out of nowhere, comes from a corner and tries to swing at me. She then lets these men inside the house. They're banging on my door, talk about bring your outside. All this mess, I immediately got everything that I could, and I booked a hotel at the Westin.
Claim is that during the time that you were in the hotel, there was damage done to the property.
Right.
This is the way you found it.
Yes.
Can you explain these photographs to me?
I can't explain the photographs. I didn't do it.
This is vandalism. Somebody took powder and liquid and broke mirrors. And quite frankly, I don't know this gentleman well, but he does not appear to be psychotic. Do you have any other proof that he caused this serious vandalism of his own house?
I do not have proof that he caused it, but I do have proof I was not there, and
I don't care whether you were not there or not. So I have to decide if it was a stranger, the plaintiff, or this side, maybe not you, but someone acting on your behalf.
And now, the conclusion. Carlos Guillen claims his former roommate, Nigel Pine, and her boyfriend, Gallo Jume, vandalized his property. Nadja is countersuing, claiming Carlos had her falsely arrested.
Okay, so if there is no other proof, what?
May I interject, please?
Sure.
Over the situation that he's trying to say that happened on the 27th, that even led to the whole craziness that we see in the photos over the vandalism, is a lie. And in his police reports, I don't know if he'll show you the police report or anything that happened, details and dictates everything of what the situation is.
May I see the police report?
He came to
Do
her.
you have the police report?
She has.
I was not able to get the police report because I am listed as a suspect. I'm not a victim, so they wouldn't give it to me. But if I may interject, because you're gonna...
I'm reading something.
You're gonna need more information to understand.
These are all pictures of your room.
Yes, ma'am.
Ransacked.
Yeah, my room and then the living room as well.
The living room sofa, but this is your room.
That's my room.
This is your bed. Yes, you wanted to say something.
Yes, so Your Honor, as far as the room goes, I just want to add that there were multiple people living there. I moved in June while him and his family member went through an eviction process in April. So multiple people found out that we had to leave randomly. And so I wholeheartedly believe that someone else did this.
That's not true.
I can't
Don't interrupt her.
Sorry.
Show you proof that he did it. To be honest with you, I don't know who did it, but I know I didn't, and I know he was with me as well. And
what about your brother? Was he with you?
My brother is...
I'm just asking you.
No.
What about your father? Was your father with you?
No.
Okay.
My father...
Just a second. Just asking you. The plaintiff said that there were 6 other people that came to the door, other than your brother. Who else came to the door?
No one.
Okay, so your brother just came alone?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And when he came, was the plaintiff still there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And he stayed when the plaintiff left?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, go through the timeline with me. He came because you called your father called your brother because you were having difficulty, okay? And your father sent your brother right over and said, you better get over there. She's having difficulty with this guy. You go over there and straighten it out, whatever it is. How old is your brother?
My brother is 22.
22.
Mm-hmm.
Big, little?
He's slightly taller than me. He is more built, maybe like the size of the bailiff, a little shorter.
Just a second. Okay, good. So when he came over, and you let him in?
No, he did not come in.
He did not come into the house at all?
Not until Carlos opened up the door.
Just a second, I'm asking you. He came into the house. Carlos opened up the door. Mm-hmm. Did your brother come into the house then?
Into the house, no.
Did he just stay in the front?
Yes, Your Honor. He stayed in the doorway.
Okay. There came a time that day that the plaintiff left the property. He went to stay at a hotel. He did not come home on that night of the 27th.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's clear. When he left, where was your brother?
I have no idea.
And I don't believe that your brother left you alone there before he left. So you have to understand, if your father sent your brother to be there to protect his sister from him...
There are things missing. And if you would allow me, I would like to tell you what actually happened that day, at least from my perspective, because it was never he left immediately. What happened was he came into my door at 7 o'clock in the morning, banging on my door, which I have a photo of the hole he put in my door, threatening me, asking if Gallo was inside of the room. And he wanted to fight me and Gallo because Gallo told him to leave us alone. And he sent threatening texts to Gallo saying, I'm gonna beat you up and we could fade and bucko this, bucko that, all this. And he's like, you know, like that. I called Gallo like, hey, Carlos is banging on my door looking for you. He's like, yeah, I know. I saw the messages. I'm on my way. And I'm like, okay. So we're arguing. He's at my door. I call my dad because I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And he's like, oh, he gets upset. So he calls my brother. My brother, he happens to work in the West Side as a security guard. And he's like, well, Pops just called me. Do you need me to stop by?
I understand all that.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So after he gets there, sees Carlos outside, I go downstairs after Carlos goes to his room, and I talk with my brother. And he's like, well, what's going on? And he's like, why he don't want to come outside? And yes, my brother was very upset because I told him, like, you know, this man was threatening me.
That's hearsay.
Yes.
That's hearsay.
So,
okay, let's understand something. This all came about, pay attention. This all came about because the two of you work in the same place. You had been living in the apartment for 3 months, and there had been no other police incidents up until this time, for 3 months. This incident, according to what I'm putting together, happened because after your boyfriend Gallo left and had a conversation with him about arguments that you had had with him, which you're not going to tell me about now because you're going to tell me that never happened. That's not something people make up. And he said he got into your business. That's what you felt. He got into your business.
No,
and
Your Honor,
just
that's
a
not what I
second.
felt.
Just a second. And then you were talking about it to people where you both work. You acknowledged that you were talking to people about it where you both work.
Yes, Your Honor.
He got angry that you were bringing stuff that happened at home to work, and he came to confront you. That's
No, Your Honor, that's not. I have text.
That's exactly. Just a second. That's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened.
He came to my door because of these text messages. These text messages are time dated. He came to my door because he messaged him.
While I was at work over a dispute it might have been about whatever the coworker said. He basically came to her door in his boxers.
No, listen to me. I'm making it simple, Gallo.
And so he texts Gallo, said, hey, G, I'm not fucking with her no more because she has an attitude problem. Gallo told the plaintiff, I see what you want, like you're a hater. And Carlos responded and basically said, I want to fade, I want to fight. And that is the morning he came and banged to my door, which caused me to call my dad.
Defendant Naja Pine has accused her former roommate, Carlos Guillen, of getting her falsely arrested. Carlos claims Naja vandalized his property when he was gone.
It started because you told your girlfriend about the brief conversation you had with him. After an argument, you say no, you're not going to say yes. Now you're still together, right?
We're together, but
still
that's
together.
Not the issue of
okay,
why we're here where we're at.
And she got annoyed because the person that she's renting a room from, who she works with, is telling her boyfriend, listen, you don't have to stand for that. You know, you got your whole life ahead of you. You know, move on with it.
Your Honor, that is not what happened.
Oh, really?
I'm begging you to listen to me.
Just show me.
He's not that type of person.
Gallo,
if
I may. So, what I have in my hand is a message where he came...
Just show me. Don't read it.
May I?
Kevin, get the message.
So if you see it the first on the top page at the bottom, that message was birthed from him coming to my door while I was doing my hair and telling me to send him... he wanted to talk to... He had his boxes on. He wanted to talk to me.
Just a second. What is this supposed to tell me?
I'm telling you right now, and then you read the message. I'm going to tell you the story that led him to say that last message. Because what happened was I'm sitting in my bed doing my hair, minding my business. He walks to my door with just his boxers on speakerphone with a female. He's like standing there in the doorway, and I look, and I'm like, what's up? I'm like, what's up? I'm like, all right, well, let me know when you're ready. And I closed the door in his face. Like, I closed it because he has his boxers on. He's standing there, and I'm minding my business doing my hair. So I basically tell him, you know, let me know when you are ready to talk because you're standing here in your boxers like I'm good. And so when I open the door after he's like, all right, I'm ready to talk, he basically like, I'm not with your attitude.
Just a minute.
You don't slam the door in my face and all this other stuff. And so he texts Gallo, that message you see there, say, hey, G, I'm not with her no more because she has an attitude problem. But I was upset because he was standing at my door in just his underwear. And so he texts him that. And then the next series of messages you'll see, Gallo told the plaintiff that basically you need to mind your business and I see what you want, like you're a hater. And Carlos responded and basically said, I want to fade, I want to fight. And you'll see those in the messages. He said, I want to fight. G, ain't got nothing to talk about. You're weird. All this buffoonery, the threats.
I don't have dates on this. Is this the 27th of August?
Yes, that is that morning.
The 27th of August.
That is that morning.
That's that morning.
And that is the morning he came banging to my door, which caused me to call my dad. He came to my door looking for Gallo to fight him.
I'm done with this case. I'm done. I'm done. You have a counterclaim.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to hear your counterclaim. Right now, this is a disaster, including the cutting up of the couch. There's no question that all of those items are worth $10,000. Now we're going to hear your counterclaim. And your counterclaim is that you were arrested falsely, tampering with tires, lost wages, and cyberbullying. I've read the messages. They're nasty. People say nasty things. That's not cyberbullying.
No, there are more.
Well, I want you to circle the ones that you say was cyberbullying. Cyberbullying. Give her a pen, please, Kevin.
Thank you.
Don't give me anything that's not circled. Are you still living at the house, sir?
I have keys to the house, but
That's
I'm
not what I asked you. Are you still living there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm reading through these text messages. You said you can't fight stupid with stupid. Instead, I chose to remove my items and kick back in a 5-star hotel until my new place is ready.
Yes.
So you were moving into a new place.
I was, Your Honor, yeah.
When did your lease start?
It would have started on September 10th, Your Honor.
Is the place furnished?
Not fully, Your Honor. No, I did get a new bed. That's about it as far as furniture and a dresser and like just the stuff I was able to save that she damaged at the home.
Just a second, did you take the sofa?
No, I did not take the sofa.
Did you buy a new sofa?
No, I have a studio, so it can't fit.
So it doesn't fit?
No.
Anyway, so you were moving. So you purchased a new bed. Do you have the bill for the new bed?
Not on me, Your Honor, but it's
Well,
the
that's
same.
what, you know.
Yeah.
She may have destroyed all this stuff, but if you weren't taking the stuff with you anyway because you have a studio apartment,
Right. Yes, ma'am.
you had to buy a new bed. I could understand you not having this bed.
Right.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's not cyberbullying. Any of this is nasty, but it's not cyberbullying. He does say in these emails, he came crying to me at 7 in the morning talking about how she beats him, calls him names, and says she wants him out of her life. I simply told bro not to worry about himself, to move on, just like any person with common sense would. This trick decides to go around my job and tell people I'm dirty. I don't pay my bills, and I'm trying to blank her man. All right, so I've just stricken cyberbullying. You have bill for the bed, sir. And if you don't, I'm going to allow you to tell me what you spent for it, because so far the $10,000 is coming down. How much was the bed?
$5,000, Your Honor.
Show me.
I didn't bring the receipt for the new bed. It was just for that bed that she damaged. Because I have a Kelly King now. She damaged my queen. So I have the comp for the queen bed that it was.
Well, I'd like to see that bed, which I see here. So you're going to show me a comp to this bed.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's move to false arrest. Well, you were arrested in part for vandalism, is that correct?
No, Your Honor.
Well, that's what the police report says.
Well, honestly, I haven't been able to see the police report, but I know that based on what officer gave me, I was arrested for theft.
Okay, what I'm telling you was the police report says he reported that the suspect vandalized property, also that property was missing from his bedroom, but he is clearly accusing you of vandalism. And the report says a report of theft, but the officer clearly arrested you probably for both charges because the police report says vandalism, and I find that was a legitimate arrest.
No, Your Honor.
That's what I find.
Okay. And I go to my car to go to work, and all 4 of my tires were flat and bolts were missing.
So were the tires flattened and slashed?
To be honest, I don't know, but they said there were holes in it and they weren't patchable.
I don't believe in serendipity and coincidence. This is far too coincidental.
3 teams are about to go into the ultimate Play-Doh competition.
It's falling, it's falling.
Oh, God.
3, 2, 1. Oh, my goodness.
The party go.
Defendant Nigel Pine has accused her former roommate, Carlos Guillen, of getting her falsely arrested. Carlos claims Nigel vandalized his property when he was gone.
Did you find that for me?
Yes, I have an image of it, Your Honor. So sorry. Here you go. That's the mattress that she damaged.
So you had a queen or you bought a split king, is that what you're telling me?
Yes, I bought a Cal King, yes.
Okay, so that was $3,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And you left this bed here, or what did you do with it?
I had some people clean it, so.
You had what people clean it?
I called my maintenance people who helps out with the house and stuff, and he got some of his crew, and they cleaned out and cleared out the whole apartment, Your Honor.
Cleaned out the whole apartment?
Yes.
What did they do with the bed?
I believe they trashed it, Your Honor. I'm not sure.
You don't know. Do you have a bill from them?
From them, no, Your Honor.
You don't have anything. I mean, what is it that you have? You don't have a bill for a new bed.
Yeah.
You have a bed that you say is comfortable. You don't have a bill from the people who cleaned out the apartment, because I assume somebody had to clean this apartment.
Right.
If you were moving out.
Right.
Well, right. I know I'm right. All right. I'm getting more disgusted with this case at every turn. Strike $10,000. Tell me about your tires. When did you find your tires
So the
tampered
27th,
with?
after the police left, after we agreed to peace, I went upstairs to go to sleep.
He was still in the house?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the 27th?
And when I woke up, I was getting ready to go to work. I noticed the electricity was off, which in those papers I gave you, he stated he turned off the electricity.
Yes.
Electricity was off. Everything was gone as well. Like, not everything, but like weird random things, like the microwave was gone. It was like a PS4 and like some like game setup thing that was gone.
Okay.
Like all of the valuables were gone.
So he had taken some of his stuff out because he was moving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he moved. Are you telling me he didn't move? Didn't move?
Not yet. No.
Oh, he's still there.
He was still there. But he
I mean, today, now. Is he there now?
Oh, no, Your Honor. But he was still there. Like, his things were still there.
Some of his things were still there, but he took some things with him.
He took.
When he left on the 27th.
What the things he claimed was valuable. Anyway, so I go downstairs and I go to my car to go to work because, like I said, I didn't think this would go any further, to be honest with you. And all 4 of my tires were flat and bolts were missing out of my tires.
You have photographs of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Are these repeats? Oh, this is one with the timestamp. Thank you.
And he was not there?
No, Your Honor.
So were the tires flattened and slashed, or were they?
To be honest, I don't know, but they said there were holes in it and they weren't patchable at all.
So they were holes in all
Yes,
4?
Your Honor.
Do you have the bills for 4 new tires?
No. I paid cash. I should have.
That doesn't mean whether you paid cash or not. It means we're not talking about.
I
we're
wasn't
not
thinking
talking
about it, but I do have a receipt for the tow.
The tow I will
Yes.
take.
Which I ended up having. So we used Gallo's AAA, and it was his 4th tow, so he wasn't going to be able to get another one after that. So I ended up
just
paying him for the extra tow, which is $90. And then I bought 4 new tires.
Well, I can't help you with the 4 new tires because
okay.
what you come here for is to prove to me any element of your claim. Right now, the plaintiff has not proven all the elements to his claim for $10,000. I believe he had to buy a new bed because that bed was destroyed, and I've already indicated who I believe is responsible for that. I do believe that he or somebody acting at his bequest, because I don't believe in serendipity and coincidence. This is far too coincidental. The damage to the home was far too coincidental to your argument with him, and the damage to your car is far too coincidental for me to be comfortable with. So I would, if you had a receipt, and we're not talking about years ago, we're talking about recently that you say you had to buy 4 new tires. Well, whether you pay cash or check for tires, you can get a receipt. And if you know you're coming to court, you're supposed to get a receipt. The same thing I'm telling you.
I didn't know I was going to court. I thought it was all over with, to be honest.
Very, very good. Judgment for the plaintiff on the complaint. My original order was for $3,000. From that, I'm reducing it by $90, so it's $29.10. Judgment for the plaintiff. That disposes of the counterclaim. Thank you very much. We're finished here.
This court is adjourned.
He never lived there. We don't argue like that.
We never argued. It never was a problem. He's basically, his issue was with her.
She's a hater, to keep it real with you. She assumed that I was trying to sleep with her man when I was just giving him evidence, so.
We have DMs, messages. He came to me talking about her, and I addressed him. That's my girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, there's text messages of him thanking me. So it's kind of weird how that played about, but I don't know.
He's tired of her, he's annoyed, and I'm like, that's not nothing that you should be telling me. You guys don't need to talk. She stays on the 3rd floor, you're at the bottom. leave her alone.
I definitely did respond, letting him know that, if you're gonna go around saying that I'm trying to sleep with you and spread all these lies, then we can definitely have a conversation face to face. I did say that, yes.
But he's already been treating her like this from the jump. And that's why I messaged him to basically leave her alone.
They definitely damaged his house. I've seen it for myself, so it's unfortunate how it ended, but we know the truth.
Honestly, I don't
want to hear from him ever again.
I think you were right that there was far too many scenarios that lined up a little too perfectly around the same argument for it to be somebody else.
Some other dude did it. I'm sorry that the plaintiff didn't tell me he moved and was in fact moving within a couple of days into a studio apartment. That would have been interesting information to have right from the get-go. I don't know why I didn't have it. It just would have gone to the extent of damages. I mean, if he had to buy a new sofa, and certainly from the vandalism, that sofa he needed, but he didn't need a new sofa. He had a studio apartment. That doesn't give somebody the right to vandalize your property and to break things.
But the law is allowed to use common sense in determining damages, and I think your final ruling on canceling out the defendant's countersuit with the plaintiff's too large of an ask for damages was the right call.
You think so?
I think so.
I
wish she had the receipt for tires. You could put two and two together that, okay, clearly...
Oh, I saw the photographs. The tires were clearly flattened, but you don't know if they were flattened as a result of somebody taking the plugs off them and just letting the air go out of them.
And without a receipt or without a mechanic's note.
Really don't know. And this all happened 2 months ago, so she should have the bills. Anyway, you tried to use common sense, and when the physical evidence isn't there of who done it, you sort of try to piece together a scenario that makes sense. Unfortunately, now you have some text messages and you have emails that assist in that. Not everything is a picture. More and more so, at least in the criminal system, it's becoming a picture because everybody has cameras all the time and there's cameras all over the place. But in these civil actions, very often there aren't.
Yenny Pajaro is suing his ex-girlfriend, Gigi Strackman, for a plane ticket, credit card charges, and a stolen cat.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2016, Pajaro versus Stratman.
Mr. Pajaro, it is your claim that the defendant, who lived with you for a brief period of time, owes you money for a plane ticket and for her unauthorized use of your credit card.
That's correct.
I don't know what the defense is to this, except that I think her defense is that you were just stupid and she took advantage of you. No. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm actually trying to figure it out. But you met the defendant, according to you, on an online dating app and started a conversation with her on what date?
So we met in March 2020 on a dating app for LGBTQ people. We started dating in March 2020. 4 months later, she moved in with me, which I know is not smart, but...
July?
Yes, in July 2020.
And where had she been living?
She had been living in Florida.
And where do you live?
I live in Seattle, Washington.
Did you send her money for a plane ticket? How did she get to you?
She had money herself at that time to cover the cost of moving.
So she moved and it was her own funds that she used to move?
Yeah, the swindling hadn't started yet.
You must have had some substantial What is this? What is this look? I don't know what this look is.
Oh, it's just the verbiage.
Okay, well, let me go back and let me start with you, okay? Because there's only one theatrical person here in this room, and that's me. Do you understand?
I do.
I get paid the big bucks to be theatrical. Okay, so Miss Strackman, you lived in Miami. He lived in Seattle, Washington. You decided to move in with him. What kind of work were you doing in Seattle?
I was a video editor, but when COVID happened, everyone kind of lost their jobs.
And what arrangements did you make with him when you were going to move in with him?
He told me that if I gave up my life in Florida, I had a very lovely apartment, lots of friends.
You had a lovely apartment, you had
I
nice
gave up
friends,
everything
but
to go
no
and
job.
move to Seattle.
Okay, so he said, move to Seattle and I'll take care of you.
Yes.
That's what you say in here.
Yes.
And that was in July of 2020.
Yes.
Is that about what you said to her?
No. The reason she moved in, again, it was 4 months after we started dating, which normally...
Had you seen her during those 4 months?
We had Zoom.
That's either yes or no.
No.
No, you had no physical contact with her?
No.
Okay.
But because we were in lockdown and we were both pretty isolated, it made sense. Her lease was ending and things moved really fast between us, so we decided to try it together. Yeah.
Okay. Was there any discussion about what she was going to do once she got to Seattle?
Yeah, so as she stated, she was a freelance video editor, and she said she was going to potentially have more work in Seattle and continue to try and find gigs for that or find other employment, drive for Uber Eats.
But she came to you and she wasn't working?
She wasn't working, no.
Okay. And the relationship with her ended in what month?
It ended in February 2021.
So it was a relatively short live-in period, maybe 6-7 months.
Right, because of her.
Did she ever work when she was with you?
Not that I
Just a second, I'm going to ask her. Did you ever have full-time gainful employment during the time that you lived with the plaintiff?
I did not. I was not supposed to.
I didn't ask you. I don't ask to be editorialized. I asked you, did you ever work full-time?
No.
Did you ever work part-time?
No.
Okay. Then there came a time, according to what I read in both of your papers, that he purchased a plane ticket for you to go back to Miami. That would be a yes.
That is correct. You're
And what month was that?
That was in February of 2021.
And tell me, in your own words, what you told him as to why you wanted to go to Miami, because he wasn't going with you.
He was not going with me.
Tell me what you told him as to why you needed to go to Miami.
I told him that I needed to visit my sister.
And does your sister live in Miami?
Yes.
Had you been there to visit her before?
I had, yeah.
While you were living with him?
No. I didn't travel.
So this was the first time you wanted to go and visit your sister?
Yes.
Okay, was there any specific reason that you gave him as to why you wanted to go visit your sister?
She was sick and I wanted to be there.
But did you tell him what she was sick with?
Yeah, it was COVID.
Does she live alone?
At the time, yes.
You know, it's not going to be easy. It's going to get harder. Now, the plaintiff seems like a relatively intelligent human being. Hands off hips. If somebody I lived with say, I want to go and see, unless it was a young child, maybe in a school or something that lived alone in an attic dormer, I want to go see my sister who's sick with COVID, and you don't have COVID, and this is 2021, I would say, well, why would you do that and put yourself at risk and then come back and put me at risk? Didn't you have that conversation?
We didn't, Your Honor, no. It just didn't come up.
I want to go take care of my sister because she has COVID? What about isolation? Didn't you ever hear about that?
I did hear about that. I spent a lot of
Well,
time
what do you think that means?
Isolation means not traveling.
No, isolation means you're not supposed to be around other people if you test positive for COVID. If you're sick, stay at home. You don't travel cross country to be with somebody who's sick. But it doesn't make any difference, actually, because you should have picked up on that or whatever, because you didn't really want this ticket, according to what I read, Miss Strackman, to go and visit your sick sister. You needed this ticket because you had started to become involved with a boyfriend who was in jail in Florida.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. So that's a yes, which you didn't tell him. So you took the money from him for, let's just start with the ticket, under false pretenses.
I did, but
Just a second. That's all. I did. Not a but. Not a little. I did take the money from him under false pretenses when you went to Florida. He said you needed it for one thing, and in fact, you didn't. That's under false pretenses. How much was the ticket?
The ticket was for $427.40.
Okay. And when you went to Florida, Miss Strackman, and you stayed in a hotel, motel, what did you stay in?
I stayed in a hotel.
And whose charge account did you use for the hotel?
Yenny had given me a credit card.
That's not what I asked you. That's a name. Whose credit card did you use when you stayed at the hotel?
The plaintiff, Yenny's.
Mm-hmm. And that was by pre-arrangement with him that you were going to stay in a hotel rather than with your sister?
No, but I had the credit card for...
Now, that's not what I mean. Let's go back. You had the credit card. I'm assuming for the purpose of this question that what you say, and I don't know if it's true, but assuming for this question that what you say in your answer is accurate, that he gave you a credit card to use for your necessaries and expenses for emergencies.
Yes.
Yes. You would agree that going to visit secretly another boyfriend in Miami is not a necessity.
You would agree that Yenny cheating on me was not a necessity.
No. But did you use his credit card?
I did, and I believe that human loving kindness.
Okay, just a second. That's it. Do I look like I need help from you? If you had given him, Miss Strackman, a credit card, I want you to try to take everything else from out of your mind. If you had given him your credit card and said, I'm giving this to you because I said to you I would take care of you when we lived together if you didn't have a job. Let's say I believe that. I'm not so sure, but let's say I believe that. You would agree that going to see another boyfriend across the country was not a necessity for him, or for me, or for Whitney,
for you, no,
or for Sarah.
For me, I'm a woman with needs. I need dopamine, I need love, I need connection, and I wasn't getting that from Yenny. So it was a necessity that I went to go visit another man. Yenny had other girls as well on the side.
But you didn't pay, just a second, Miss Strackman, you didn't pay for the other girls. You didn't pay for his other girls.
I paid emotionally.
Oh, you said, what an idiot.
Yenny Pajaro claims his ex-girlfriend, Gigi Strackman, owes for the cost of a plane ticket, credit card charges, and stealing his cat. Gigi says they were all necessary expenses for her.
Now, you should feel so lucky that you got off so cheap.
I think you should assume everything that comes out of her mouth.
No.
Why?
Yeah.
Because
no.
if I had, I wouldn't be here.
I get who I'm dealing with,
Yes.
sir. $427 for the flight ticket. How much was the credit card?
The credit card. Also, there's an incident with my cat as well, which
Just a second.
I'll address later.
Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute. That's your least strong suit, but it sort of tells me again who I'm dealing with. Okay. How much did she use on the credit card in Miami?
Okay.
So only in Miami.
Right. In Miami, she spent $1,000 on...
Now, just a second. Is that a sheet from your credit card company?
Yes.
I'd like to see it. Easier.
Would you like me to add the $427 for the flight ticket?
Yeah. Let's separate the two for me now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Giving me start. Just show me where the bills are.
So those are two separate credit card statements because she used it in 2 separate months. One of those is when she initially started using it, which was...
I don't care when she initially started.
Okay.
Let's understand.
Yeah.
She got your credit card.
Yes.
I only want to see the charges from Miami.
Okay. It's the one that says bail bonds, the bigger charge, which was...
Just circle.
Okay.
How much?
That was for $1,000, but overall it was...
No, $1,000. We're going to do it this way. $1,000 bail bonds.
Yes.
Okay, next.
And then she spent $262.50 at a hotel for both of them.
$250 for a hotel.
And then she spent $105 on a fancy dinner for her and her lover.
And her what?
And her lover.
Okay, 150?
150 is not fancy. That's the kind of person you're dealing with.
150. I don't think there's a question before you, madam. 10, 4, $1,400 there. Is that close?
Including the 1,000?
Including the 1,000, but then not including the 425.
Yeah.
So it would be 1,827.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay. Now let's get to the final issue. So that takes care of your plane ticket and the credit card while she was in Miami. Now let's talk about the cat. Ms. Strackman, you moved in with the plaintiff July of 20.
Yes.
And when you moved in with the plaintiff, did he have a cat?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And what was that cat's name?
That cat's name is Momo.
And you lived with him a total of approximately 6 months.
Yes, Your Honor. And during that time, the cat...
No, I didn't ask you any questions. There's no question before
Daddy.
you. There's no question before you. I have dates. You moved in, you lived with him for 6 months. When you moved in, the cat was there. And if you recall, in what month and year had you gotten the cat?
I got Momo right before she moved in with me as an emotional support animal, which is legally protected.
When you say right before she moved in with you, give me the month.
It was June.
And where did you get the cat from?
June 2020. I adopted her from a shelter.
So you didn't have the cat long?
No.
When she moved in?
No.
And then the two of you had the cat?
Yes.
Okay,
but
great.
The cat was
and then when she, just a second, then when she left in February of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We are now in August of 2022, and you recently filed this case with regard to your cat.
Right. I didn't know where she was.
Just a second.
Disappeared.
I don't care.
Okay.
You recently filed this case with regard to the cat. Did you make a police report when she left with the cat?
I don't.
The answer is either yes or no.
I don't like involving the police, so no. I didn't want to ruin her life.
Oh, well. I want to tell you something. I have a small 4-pound dog at home. I love that creature more than anything in the world, except my grandchildren, my husband, and my children. Hope there are enough life rafts for everybody, including the dog.
I did try to hire a private investigator in Florida, but I didn't know where she was.
Okay. You didn't report it to the police. And I do have a problem with that. Now, Ms. Strackman, you knew when you moved into him he had this cat that he had adopted.
Yes, Your Honor.
I want you to tell me what led you to believe you had the legal right to take that cat?
Because that cat had become severely bonded to me. Yenny was neglecting both of us, both of the women in his life he chose to neglect.
Because I was working and
No, just a second. Don't.
Sorry, I paid for everything.
And so the cat.
So he was neglecting the cat and you, so you decided maybe half a neglect, you could be one whole person.
Exactly. Me and her just getting out of here and gonna go start a new life together. I spent day and night with that cat. That cat was extremely bonded to me. She would be devastated without me.
Tell me how the cat died in your custody. Tell me how the cat died in your custody. That's not a smile story.
It's not. No, it's absolutely devastating. I am completely torn up about it. Unfortunately, my boyfriend's dog was not accustomed to cats and mistook her for a toy, and she did not survive that.
What kind of a dog does your boyfriend have?
We don't know the breed. I've never done the genetic testing.
Do you have a picture of the dog?
I do not. I didn't bring any.
Yeah,
so I was
good.
hoping you just used.
Just brought your smile.
Intuition.
Okay.
She's not with her boyfriend.
She said, I didn't ask you a question. There's no question before you.
Love transcends bars, Annie.
Okay, 1827, $1,000 for taking his cat, and because you're a fool. 7, 2, 8, 2827. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. We're done here.
This court is adjourned.
First of all, I'm glad, and I think justice was served. I'm not for Momo, but for the other scams that Jacqueline pulled.
Then I need dopamine, I need oxytocin, I need love, I need care.
Well, credit card fraud.
And Yenny said that they were going to be the person who was going to give that to me.
Deception, played with my heart.
And then didn't, so I had to find it elsewhere.
It was incredibly, this was Momo.
I did not have the cat killed. I was very attached to Momo. That was my cat as well.
It was incredibly hard to deal with. I was also alone when I had to process that news, so.
I did not set a hitman out on the cat. That's a lot to say.
She saw me as a sugar daddy, and she saw herself as a wannabe Anna Nicole Smith. Unfortunately, neither of us are those things.
Could I plead the fifth on finding another sugar daddy?
Yet another lesson we learned about cohabitants living together and the rules of what not to do. No cars, no pets, no money exchanges.
No joint pets, no joint.
Exactly. But today we learned a new one. Today, don't give access to your credit card to anyone that you don't want racking up charges for any purpose, even to visit a secondary lover in another state.
You know, the divorce rate in this country is still hovering we're around 50%. The living togethers who don't quite make it to the marriage place is a much greater number.
Yeah.
Living togethers don't stay together 70% of the time. Why in the world would you buy a pet together?
It's a risk.
Car together, a timeshare together.
True.
Or give somebody a credit card.
Yeah.
At the time that you do it, you're happy with them. But since at least 70% of the time you're going to go your own separate ways, at that time you're mad at each other.
And the lines get blurry.
And the lines get blurry, absolutely.
रोज पिया बदानिया हो रोज पिया बदानिया अरे बोला ता चूड़ी कंगना राजा जानिया हो अरे टूटा ता रोज पिया बदानिया हो अब हाथ के मेहंदी हमरो छूटत बाटे लाले लाले गलिया ओठ लालिया पिया मोरे सुखत बाटे राजा मोरे सुखत बाटे पिया मोरे सुखत बाटे राजा मोरे सुखत बाटे रोआता से जिपे ओढ़ना बिछावना हो अरे धाके कमरिया खेला खेलावना पे ओढ़ना बिछावना हो हरे धाके कमरिया खेला खेलावना हो हरे छाती से साटी के तकिया बितात बाटे लाले लाले गलिया ओठ लालिया पिया मोर सुखत बाटे राजा मोर सुखत बाटे पिया मोर सुखत बाटे राजा मोर सुखत बाटे बेकार कायल सोरहो सिंगार हो हर तड़पेला जवानी अनुराग हो तड़पेला जवानी अनुराग हो होता बेकार कायल सोरहो सिंगार हो हर तड़पेला जवानी अनुराग हो और बीपिन तोहरे प्यार से मनवा कुगत बाटे लाले लाले गलिया ओठ लालिया पिया मोर सुखत बाटे राजा मोर सुखत बाटे पिया मोर सुखत बाटे राजा मोर सुखत बाटे